the World Pokemon League, #1 draft league you could ever see. Getting stronger, yeah, I'm building up my own team. Gotta be the champion, the one you can't defeat. It's the World Pokemon League, #1 draft league you could ever see. Getting stronger, yeah, I'm building up my own team. Gotta be the champion, the one you gotta beat.
It's the World Pokemon League, #1 draft league you could ever see. I'm pointing in the air while I'm singing the song and no one can see me. What's going on, Jay?
I don't think that's how that works.
I was singing this song and I was like pointing in the air like I was like on a stage and it's like no one can see you, Jason.
No.
Do you ever do that?
That's
where it's just like
planned.
where like no one can hear you on the phone and you're like, all right, I told you 3 times, and you like hold your fingers up. And
Yeah,
it's like,
you're like,
no
it's
one.
this big. You're like,
Yeah, it's this big.
what? Can't see you,
Dude.
bro. Can't see you.
What are you, stupid? It's this big. Welcome everybody to the silliest WPL podcast and only WPL
That's right.
podcast. We won 2 things. No, seriously, welcome
Episode
everybody.
2.
This is our second one. This is a personal record for our podcast.
Yeah, this is fair. And, in
It
theory,
also proves that it's what's that?
I was saying in theory, it won't be quite as long as the last one, though.
Oh God. Okay.
That draft one went away.
Well, the draft is the biggest one, so
Yes.
it is what it is. Everyone can just stop sending me hate mail and letter bombs. Like,
Sorry. I can't.
hate mail can be a letter bomb. Just throwing that out there.
This is true. This is true.
Yeah. We could always get into some Pokemon, or we could just keep talking about randomness
What we're supposed to be talking
and waste.
about?
We could waste more people's time. No, I'm kidding. So everybody, the draft is over. The draft is over.
You're dressed right now.
I'm totally drashed. It is Draftmas Eve. No, what draft? No. Oh yeah, you guys in the States don't have Boxing Day. The day after Christmas is we call Boxing Day. Did you know that?
Freaking Canadians.
Yeah, like I can't. I actually would love to have Space City to talk about Canada. Did you know what Boxing Day is? Sus. No, Boxing Day is like almost like Black Friday down there.
Yes. No, I know Boxing Day is. I've at least heard of it.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Okay.
The company I work for has like a bunch of branches in Canada, so I have to know all the Canadian things.
Oh, so you do jobby job things at your job?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not fun. Just like Canada. Anyway.
Wow. Oh, Canada. Anyway. No, so here we are. That was a great intro, by the way. Before we get started, we wanted to go over we wanted to kind of start a somewhat regularity of what we wanted to talk about each week. So we do want to go over the matches to come in the week. We do want to go over results from the previous week, kind of like significant things, what happened. But because there's no previous week other than the draft, and we already did one last week, we don't really need to touch on that too much. And this is going to be hopefully shorter, just for everybody else's time's sake. Unless you really love it, send us a message and let us know how much you love us.
Please,
we'll do 2 hours.
Please give us 3-hour podcasts. Please.
We get paid twice the amount we do now if we go twice the time.
This is true.
It's exactly 2 times.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, but we're gonna since there's no weeks prior, we figured we'd at least just discuss things that were changed from last season to this season.
Yeah, not a lot has changed between season 3 and 4. The format has obviously changed. Everybody that was in the draft knows that yes, there's 1 mega. So a lot of the rules were actually determined for this season for the format based on what the Showdown server allows. And there's a couple things we actually found out that we'll touch on that I hope it didn't affect anyone's draft. I don't think it will. It is doubles. Maybe in a singles league it might have. So what has changed between season 3 and 4? We have 1 mega, no restricteds. That's as simple as that. Other than that, there's really nothing really to go over. You can't Dynamax your mega Pokemon if you didn't already know. The server actually will not allow you to click mega if you have the mega. Sorry, it won't allow you to click the Dynamax button if you have a mega stone on the Pokemon. So I think that's actually better. Because it just makes things, a little more, like, it makes megas not as good as they were in the past. And I'm actually curious to kind of see how they impact the league. Any thoughts on that, Jay?
No, I mean, I
Any
definitely
predictions?
think. I'm really curious as well to see how if megas are a big piece of everybody's team. I don't think they'll be as big as restricted, but I think it'll be similar to the G Max Pokemon from the season prior,
Ooh,
where
nice. Yes.
um, it was a big part of your team, but like it didn't always come. I could definitely see there being weeks where somebody doesn't bring their mega, and I don't think it'll be that crazy. Yeah,
Yeah, like there's obviously some ones big pieces of a team. Like I can see a Latias or Latios being a big part of a team. The mega is very strong, but it also has such a good support pool. I can see that just being a monster.
yeah.
So
Something
in that sense,
I'd say something
yeah,
else.
I don't
Something
think.
else you didn't touch on was that the mega does have to hold the mega stone, even if it's going to mega or not. So even if one example would be like my mega Manetric, against lightning rod, but changes to intimidate. If I want it just as a lightning rod mon to protect something next to it, I still have to hold the mega stone. I'm not allowed to put something else on it.
Yeah, like that's actually a good point. Like we didn't touch on it. I love how you're like, Jason, you forgot.
Well,
We
no.
forgot.
When you were talking about megas earlier, you didn't touch on it. So
That's fair. You did sign the WPL ownership agreement, so we're both on there. Sorry, I signed your name for you.
oh,
There
okay.
we go.
I mean, it's the same name, so it works.
It's an X, right?
Yeah.
Just plain old X. No, but that is a good point though, because like I can see a lot of strategy being based on when to mega. I think that's a big deal. Like for example, my Lucario has inner focus as its standard ability, so if I plan on being faked out, I could always just I might want to set up or something if I'm faked out, or protect or mega or you know what I mean, whatever it might be. But yeah, the lightning rod deal is very very big, and also you can choose when an intimidate gets off. I think that's actually a really really cool thing, and also. The thing is like relying on an intimidate from a mega form is actually really hard to do as a lead, because you can't just lead, for example, an Incineroar or get the intimidate boost and then switch it out and then switch it back in to get the intimidate, because you haven't. If you switch out your non-mega Pokemon, you don't get the intimidate off and the next one.
Right.
So I can see that being like a little bit. I think people can play with it. I think we're going to kind of learn more about this format as the season goes on.
And you'll see the opposite for Kyogre Canucks, who has Salamence, Mega Salamence, where he has Intimidate originally, and as soon as he Megas, he loses Intimidate. So he kind of has the opposite thing, where he might want to not Mega for a while and stay as the normal to keep switching in and out Intimidates. So
yeah. You run into like a major offensive threat on the physical side, you might not want to mega. You have to have the stone on, of course, as you touched on. But megaing later, I think is going to be very, very cool to see. And I think there's going to be a lot of like learning this season. So we'll have to see how that goes. New rules, though, like we didn't add much. Let me just go over to the rules section of the league, because like I did add like I think one or two things. Actually, one. The only addition we actually had was everything's been good so far. Like there's a couple of frowned upon things, but they're not rules, but we might be able to touch on that. But just in case anybody didn't know, I think there were a couple of times last season that maybe we kind of knew what was happening, based on like messages and like in the Discord, not the Discord, but messages in the Showdown, just comments on the game and stuff like that. But all coaches cannot help. And sometimes you don't know you're helping or not, but if you're affecting any kind of impact on the game, I think last season we saw something where somebody was just like, hey, that's not the strategy, and it was just like, well, okay, like you kind of can't say anything. And this is mostly an honor system, because yes, you can get away with it. Does that mean it's okay?
It's just more of a reiteration of a unspoken rule, and now it is a spoken
just
rule.
Don't help.
Just
don't help.
If you're playing a match, you should have no contact with anybody else while you're playing.
Exactly.
And that's really the big thing.
That's pretty much it. Just talk after. You know what I mean? Talk after. If however it might be, just let the person battle on their own, because two heads are better than one and stuff like that. Like there have been like testing where it's like, oh, don't do that because this is the optimal play, and you discuss it and say, oh yeah, you're actually right, and then you two heads are better than one. So I would just say, like, yeah, just wait till the match is over. Coaches, as much as you want to strangle the person that you're talking about, that you're watching, this is not what we planned on. Just restrain yourself and just, yeah. And this is all fun, right? Like this is just fun. Like everybody just kind of have fun with the season too. Like, you know what I mean? That's one thing I really want to challenge myself to do, because I'm back this season, is I don't want to get stressed when I'm playing anymore. Like, the game is so much fun when you're just messing around, just exhibition battles, just randomly messing around battling. It's a lot of fun. Why is it any different when we actually go into games that matter in the season and playoffs? And I just want everyone to have a good time. So let's just aim for that, I guess. Pep Talk of the Week. New segment.
That's right.
Jay, you actually found something on the server, the sports.psim server, that we did not know, everybody. So we apologize. And when I say we, I mean all Jay, not me. He apologized. No, it was I actually didn't know this.
No, I was doing some testing pre-draft on some things, and I happened to catch when I entered into a battle. It said at the top of the format we're planning on using, no OCO moves and no evasion boosting moves. And I know those are generally more in the singles area, but no minimized blissies. No running horn drill, sheer cold, anything like that.
Shadow.
Yeah.
The tournament he ran Fisher, horn drill, and sheer cold on the same Lapras.
Yeah, and just Dynamaxed it to hide it. No, that was great. But yeah, so that will not be allowed. I know, Jay, you did have a something you wanted to add to that about if it was your.
There is a workaround. There might be a workaround. I'm asking around about it. If I don't have the workaround by the time the season actually starts on Monday, the start of the week, we actually won't do it. We'll just make that a rule. I'm trying. I don't know if anybody chose a Pokemon for evasion or OCO moves or whatever it might be. In all fairness, because we just found this out, we didn't know, send me a direct message. Just say, hey, Jay, I actually didn't know that was a rule like you, but I did pick this for evasion and stuff like that. I will allow you to make a free agent move for that Pokemon. I know I can't do any better than that. I can't redo the draft, unfortunately, but I can try to make it better the best I can. But yeah, sometimes things happen like that, and most of the things I have, my I's dotted and my T's crossed, but I did miss this one. So good job, Jay, on catching that. Not like evasion and OCO moves are a big part of doubles, but still, I also want to be fair to everybody, so there is that involved. So just send me a message, let me know. I'll allow you to make another move, and we'll make things by that point. There is a statute of limitations, though. If you don't get back to me, I can't give you a move.
Yeah, you can't come in week 5 and be like, hey, can I have an extra move?
Yeah, don't do that. Yeah, let's just say the end, I don't know, the end of week 1. Let's just say that. Let me know and I'll give you a move.
Right.
Whatever. But again, I do apologize, seriously. But yeah, we're gonna have some fun. I don't think it'll affect everybody, but it just sucks that you can't do something. Like, I want it more now that I told I can't do it.
Right.
So there's that. So that pretty much gets all the housekeeping out of the way. But hey, let's get into the meat and potatoes of the podcast this week, and mostly every week. Match previews. Yay, week 1.
I know it's been a long time coming for a lot of
for some people more than others. I haven't played a game, a meaningful game, and this includes the tournament that just passed, because I didn't play any meaningful games because I lost them all. No, but I'm looking forward to getting the stick back on the ice, guys.
Wow.
I took a season off, and I'm glad I did. Yeah, so we'll see how it goes, right? I like the team I picked. I like how the format is. It's going to be a lot of fun, and let's go from there. But the first match I want to talk about is I have to. I did not plan this, everybody. I hit randomize on the schedule, and we randomized the weeks that they're actually played in, like which order they're played in. And week 1, we've got champion versus champion. Mr. Cascade Illusions, defending champion, versus Sao Paulo Excadrilles, Season 2 champion.
Right.
Holy crap.
Well, championship rematch. I mean, not just season 2 champion for Sapal extra drills there, but I mean, runner up. So
You always got to one up me, Jay, don't you?
well,
I had the greatest intro ever, and you're just like, it's a rematch from like a month ago.
Yes.
Do you remember that, Jay?
Speaking of 2 teams that have been really itching to play because it's been a long time, here's the championship rematch.
You guys haven't played in forever.
I know.
You've actually, everybody has not played in anyway longer than you guys haven't played anyway. Wow. You guys meet a lot. I don't know how it happens.
Yes.
You guys have only played 2 seasons because you've been in the league 2 seasons, and you've played every match possible.
Yeah, we've each played each other in the regular season and in the playoffs. Both of
And it
of
just
my
happened
seasons.
to be, but it just happened to be. You also met in season 2's finals as well, and you
Yes.
met in season 3's finals, and you both split championships. So
Yes,
third
we did.
championship wins. It's a best of 3, by the way.
That's fair. All right, Vitor, we need to make it. We need to make it to the championship again.
I don't think we should have it any other way.
So everybody can roll their eyes and be like, "Oh my gosh, I'm tired of this."
Yeah, I think everybody just kind of enjoys. Like, we all know our favorites and our favorite teams, and I think Vitor is just a league favorite, and everybody just hates Cascade for some reason.
Pretty
So
much. That's what it's-
you're the villain.
I'm cool with that actually.
You're like the Yankees of the WPL.
Okay, I'm not cool with that.
You're like Man United of the WPL.
Okay, I'll go with that because I don't know anything about.
You're like the Montreal Canadiens of the WPL. You're like the Dallas Cowboys. No, I'll just stop.
How many more sports can we get in here?
You're like the London Knights of the CHL. Anyone who understands that reference, shout out to you. Thank you.
Yes.
So it is your matchup. So I think what we're gonna do is I'll talk about your match, and you could talk about my match.
That's fair.
Just because I don't want you to give away too much of what you want to do and this and that. So I'll kind of tell you what you're gonna do and just do it.
Good.
And you tell me what I'm gonna do, and I just won't.
Right.
I think that's fair. Your match. Okay, so looking at the 2 teams side by side, what changes were made from draft to week 1? Actually, the beginning of week 1. So. Vitor didn't make any moves. He seems to like his team the way it is, which actually scares me that he got what he wanted.
Right.
Because we were all given 2 free picks, so it was just free. I think you free?
No.
You free?
No.
Anyway, no, that died. That died last season. But yeah, Cascade, you actually made 2 picks yourself. And they were actually part of your draft strategy, but obviously the draft is kind of chaotic and stuff. But you actually grabbed Trevenant in the C tier for Passimian, and you grabbed Electivire making its debut in the WPL for Merrill. How could you drop Merrill?
Well, you got those tiers backwards, actually. Trevenant's
Did I?
Trevenant's the D tier, and Electivire's the C tier. But
Then we mistiered the Trevenant. Nice move, grabbing it in the D tier.
yeah. No, I'm excited. I know Electivire was high on my list. It fell behind Passimian. I was planning on grabbing a Azumarill to go with Passimian, but obviously that didn't happen. Thanks, Vitor.
Thanks to your opponent in week 1.
Right. And so now he's probably going to use it against me this week too.
He should. Keys to victory coming up.
No, and so I grabbed Merrill kind of as a backup to that, and I decided I didn't really want to go that route, so I went with Trevenant and Electivire. I'm really excited about Trevenant. Really excited about Trevenant, actually.
I'm excited for someone to use Trevenant other than me. Like, I'm afraid there are some Pokemon that I'm like, I would love to use this, but I know it can be good. And
Yeah.
Trevenant seems like a Pokemon that Octo should use. Like, it's like, showcase this thing for me, please.
Show me how to use it.
Yeah, show me how to use it, and then I'll pick it season 5.
That's right.
Yeah, Trevenant's pretty cool. Electivire's pretty cool. I'm actually looking forward to the Electivire because it hasn't been used yet. And we have a lot of debuts in season 4 if they're going to be used.
Right.
I'm not saying you're not going to use yours, but people have a history of drafting something and not using it. What a waste.
Ask Octo
but
how
I
he feels
can-
about that.
Oh God, we should have Octo on next week just to see how he feels. Yeah, I honestly, man, I have no idea who to pick, you versus him. You guys have such both very strong teams. You have very typical strategies in the Comfey Moltres, and he's got the Excadrill T-Tar. 2 very, very good duos. Could actually be, in the end of the season, top duos based on what's been used and how they've been used and how people can counter them and, back row, front row stuff. So yeah, you do have the edge though. In the 4 matches you've played, you only lost the championship in season 2. Every other game is yours.
That's right. I've taken in both regular season matchups and then obviously last year's championship. So
No one can say that but you, actually. I don't think anybody has a positive record against Vitor right now. I think you're definitely the thorn in his side. So I think he's just as nervous about facing you as you are facing him. So yeah, everybody, we're gonna call that the game of the week. I do want to pick one matchup each week that we can kind of promote, and then I might actually just advertise it in the newspaper and TV and commercial. No, I'm kidding. No, just in our server, like in general chat, is saying, hey, this is when they're playing. Plan for it. We'll all watch it, and I think it'd be really cool. So if everybody does it, great. If everybody doesn't, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
But that's you guys.
Did you want to do?
Do you have
keys?
anything to say about this match?
I mean, I'm just excited. I saw this. I mean, obviously, this was like the very first game I saw of the season, and it was like, wow, yeah, it's just starting off fast and early here. I think both of us are going to be getting used to our teams, and we'll see who can.
Oh God, that's another thing.
Yeah.
It's like everybody drafted a team, and none of us are good at our teams yet.
Right.
Like, yeah, like there's so much synergy that we don't know of yet. Like I said last week, there's a lot of synergy that's just kind of staring you in the face when you look at two things side by side. But
yeah, well, when you built,
yeah.
Everybody built their team and they theory crafted, strategies and stuff, and now it's time to put it into action. Let's see if what you had in your mind actually pays off.
Yeah, and keys to like what's your key to, what's your win condition? What's his win condition? Things like that. Maybe we'll just kind of touch on those. For Vitor, I think Azumarill is probably the most important part of his team facing yours. I just think that it just hits your team really, really hard. And I'm not going to get into too much of how and how to stop it, blah, 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 with everyone's team. But I do think the key for victory for you is neutralizing that, and the key for his victory is destroying you with that. Protecting it, having Pokemon around it, support it, and set it up for victory. So that's a really boring key to victory because they're the same thing. But I think I do think that's a thing that you need to look out for, and he needs to capitalize on. So I do think that's really cool. Electivire could actually be an answer to it. So nice move at the deadline before the season to grab that thing. But yeah, let's go on to mine. I don't want to say a whole lot, not because I want to give it away, but I also don't want to say, I have an answer for this, and you have, there's not, I don't want to, and I don't want to influence anything that he's gonna bring based on what I say. So I'll just kind of let you interview me. Let's go.
That's right. No, I think. Yeah, I think this is going to be a good matchup. You're back this season. You took a season off, so you're going to be knocking the rust off there. Sapphire.
First week one's going to be so bad. I'm going to be like, yeah, I know better.
Yeah.
The whole game.
No, and Sapphire Salamence, he took over. Kevs took over a team last year, so this is his first match. With his own team, so we'll see how that goes too. Yeah, obviously you guys haven't faced each other at all.
Yeah,
I
don't even think in exhibition either. Like Kevs has been, he's been actually a lot more vocal lately, which is actually kind of cool. Like in general chat, you see him in there. We're kind of destroying his comments in general chat with emojis. That was kind of funny.
Yeah.
So no, but it's good to see him chatting and stuff like that, and he's a good dude. So let's see if he's nice to me after I slaughter him this week.
Good luck with that. So
really
free agents that were picked up there after the draft. You went out and got one of the biggest surprises of the whole draft was Glacier not even getting drafted. Yeah,
last year's season 2's first overall pick.
Yep, and I don't know why it fell so hard, but yeah, I'm sure
it's
you're
horrible. Don't
I'm
plan
sure you're
for
happy,
it.
happy to
don't
get that
prep
thing.
For it. It sucks. Like I don't even know why I got it.
No, your other and you dropped Urshifu Rapid Strike for that one, which we'll touch on that maybe a little bit later. Both Urshifus getting dropped before week 1 even starts, but
yeah, they're no good either.
No, your other move, picking up Fungus, dropping Shinotic. They do similar things, but I think Fungus, especially being a little slower, is a little nicer in Trick Room. I mean, between
Yeah.
Glacier and Fungus, your Trick Room mode just got much better, I think. But
Who
I mean,
knows?
just as good in Trick Room, I would say. Kevs went out and grabbed Galarian Corsola. Um, the thing is just
Single
it's
specialist.
yeah, but I mean it's bulky and it gets
Yeah.
off getting off some strength saps and it's hard to kill and it's a counter there for your Glacier a bit. Um, no, so I'd say how do you feel? How do you feel coming back in? You feel ready?
Um, maybe ask me like an hour before I play my match, but I honestly I like the team I got. Everything on it I'm kind of happy with. So at least in the little bit of prep that I've done so far, I feel comfortable with the team that I have. Like I feel like I have, like it's the worst feeling in the world. I think I said this in one of my other videos, like tutorial videos, saying like there's no worse feeling than not having an answer to something.
Yeah.
Like it's just like they have this strategy in their toolbox and there's nothing you can do about it. That is one of the worst feelings ever, and you're just hoping they don't bring it. Sometimes they don't actually. You're like, "Oh my god, this is how they beat me and I don't have an answer for it." Whether or not it's weather or fake out or fake tears or a prankster or whatever it might be. Sometimes there's just nothing you could do about a strat, but I feel that based on what I have, I'm not saying the team's perfect, but I'd say like at least I have most of the moves that can stop things like taunt. I have fake out. I have ghost types. I have resistances and switch-ins and speed control. So I'm pretty happy with the team that I drafted. I feel comfortable with it. So
Nice.
I think I'm gonna have a lot of fun. And I think he has a good team, but I think I got the edge, bro. I think I got it this week.
Yeah. So in that vein, I think keys to this matchup. I'm going to go with megas and how to support them. I think you
Hold
guys
on, let me
both
get a pen.
you both have very strong megas in Mega Lucario, Mega Metagross, and you both have great support around them. He's got Sableye and Persian, Alolan Persian, two very good support mons, and not to mention Riolu in
MVP, bro.
there. What's that?
He's the MVP last season.
Right, exactly. And obviously you've your play style and your Pokemon that you like are very good support as well with Berserker and Mimikyu. So I think the winner of this could come down to who's able to support their Mega better.
Fair. I'm Dynamaxing my Mega Lucario.
Yes, please do. And take the forfeit.
I lost. I could just see it now post press conference. Well, how did you lose? I tried to Dynamax. That was my whole game plan. Intimidate, I think, is going to be big on his side of the field. So that's one thing I don't have on my team. I think I just kind of went. I can't have everything. So I think that was just the one thing I had to kind of have die in the draft prep.
Yeah.
But I think his Pokemon are very scary. Like that Landorus is really scary and it can just go off, right? So, and not to mention his Mega is really good, like you said. So we'll have to see how the cards play and what hands we get dealt in the match and stuff like that. And yeah, it should be fun. I'm not expecting to win week 1. I haven't played in a while, and I just talk about Pokemon. I do less playing and just more talking.
Yep, that's fair. No, so I guess unless you got any other thoughts on that, let's move on to.
None that I want to share.
we're gonna try to not give away too many things with these keys.
Yeah.
So.
Next we have Octo versus. So I'm gonna use this team name just so people know. Spider Phantom Troop versus Florida for Alligators. So Octo versus Be Rich. They've never played before in our league, actually, right?
Nope. I think Florida was new last season, and the cards didn't fall that way. So yeah.
Oh, it was. I feel like he's been around a lot longer than that, actually, because he was an Ant-Man's coach and stuff like that. He did his draft for him a while ago, and he's just kind of being in the server, kicking around, and it was just like, yeah, you want a team? He says, okay.
Nice. Yeah, so that should be fun.
Yeah, so based on the two teams, like obviously only one of them made a free agent move. Octo doesn't make a ton of them. He usually falls in love with the Pokemon he drafts, and he really wants to showcase them. That's one thing Octo loves doing in this game. He loves the game. He loves playing it. But I think just making a Pokemon that's underused and overlooked, looked at and overused. So that's one thing I like watching about his games, and it's like watching it's like watching an orchestra when I watch him battle. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, just like, oh man, this is all together. Everything just fits. One of the better players in the league, I find, Octo. And but again, Florida, like as you mentioned earlier today, you said he hasn't lost he hasn't been blown out very often.
No, I remember he was one of the statistical oddities last season. I mean, I think he finished with a 3-5 record, but had a +4 kill differential. So, he beat up some teams and lost narrowly to some other teams. And so I think he's better than his record showed last year. I think he was right there. If a couple chips fall his way, he's right there in the playoffs. And had a very scary season, I think.
Oh yeah, man. Like I think these are two teams that really have something to prove right now, because I feel like Octo felt like he had an early exit in the first round of the playoffs. Like he felt really good about his matchup, and it just didn't go his way in round one. Mm-hmm. The previous season he played season 1 because he took season 2 off. He actually won everything. He won the championship. So I think he had higher expectations for himself, and he had an early exit in the first round. And Florida, again, you play well, and sometimes you just don't win, right? You play well enough, and he blew a lot of guys out. That's another thing. Like he smashed a few guys, 2-0s, 4-0s, 3-0s, like, but when he lost, it was so close. So I think he has a lot to prove when it comes to his record, and Octo has a lot to prove because he feels like he could have done better. So I'm looking for fireworks in this matchup here. Any keys to victory for this matchup specifically, or do we just leave Octo's match and just say, let's see what happens?
I mean, just quick keys, I would say. For Octo, stopping Colossal Dragonite is really strong at the top. Having an answer for that. I mean, obviously, no surprise there that I think that's going to be one of the better duos in the league this year as well. And for Florida, I would say just don't get caught off guard. Just remember, when it comes to Octo, even if you think you know what a Pokemon's going to do, it's probably going to do something else. So being able to understand all the different uses for each Pokemon.
Yeah, I think that's fact-finding for Florida is probably his key to victory. I think the more information he gets about Octo's team early, the better. So like moves like abilities like Frisk and things like that, and a lot of timely protects and things like that. I can even just like dragging out a match and stuff like that, like just to find out more information about certain Pokemon on his team, I think is going to just do wonders for him, because Octo usually has the element of surprise. And certain synergies that we didn't know were there. So if, like even like a double protect turn 1 could be kind of cool just to see what Octo does. But meanwhile, on the other hand, he could just set up in front of your face and, and you lose turn 1. So that's my key to victory for Florida over Octo. But I think Octo to beat B-Rich, I think the Colossal strategy with Surf and Aqua Jet and things like that is just, yes, he has the Togekiss for redirection, so there is a counter there, and there's no surprise. Like we're not giving away too much with that. He already knows, but as B-Rich probably knows as well. But if he can get that steam engine off on the Colossal with the policy, if that's what he wants to do, right? He might have another use for it. But if he does get that off, that's incredibly hard to stop that unstoppable train of that Colossal strat. So I think that neutralizing that is probably the key to his victory, which he probably has many different strategies to do. And I think the one overlooked thing in this matchup is the Mega Kangaskhan.
Yeah.
Like we talked about how overrated it is. That may be so. It's still good.
Yeah. It's not bad. Overrated doesn't mean bad. It just
exactly.
That's a misconception people get a lot.
100% right. Yeah, if I was playing him week 1, I'd probably just ignore it and then get smashed. That's what I would do. But Octo doesn't do that. So I see a lot of synergy on B-Rich's team. I see a lot of synergy on Octo's team. And the scary part is there's so much synergy we don't see.
Right.
So that's their matchup. I guess there's only 8 matchups. I guess we could take a little longer if we really wanted to. But This is actually probably the one I'm looking forward to the most, because these two teams, I really like watching them play, because they're both very, very good, as everybody is. But when you have two really good teams that are just facing each other, and I don't really get the rosters, and you know what I mean? Like, I just know that it's just going to be a lot of excitement. Kyogre Canucks versus Great Marsh Gastrodons. Mr. Day, take it away.
No, yeah, I agree with all that. Two powerhouses in the league last season, both made the playoffs. And Kyogre, I think he missed the playoffs his first season, but he went very, very far in the first Colossal Cup, one of the scariest teams there, and then obviously an incredibly scary team last season, just with Kieran White and Cartana.
Oh God, Kieran White.
Yeah, that thing was a monster. So obviously he's very good. And Great Marsh he's always been a solid player. He's made the playoffs every season.
He just won't die. That's Great Marsh is a guy that, like, he's always in the playoffs. He's always there. He always has a really good team. He always has the right things. And you know what? I think one thing is Great Marsh didn't have the strongest second half of the season. I feel like he had a really good start. But I feel like he kind of fell off a little bit on the second half. I don't know what it was. He might have been busy with some things, but I know there's a life outside of gaming. But I feel like Kyogre never took his foot off the gas pedal until the playoffs, and even when he lost, it was just so close. And it was just a really good match. Great Marsh, I think he does have something to prove this season. I really do. I love the guy. But 3 seasons, 3 first-round knockouts. We were talking about the last one, something to prove. I think Great Marsh has more to prove than anyone.
Yeah, no, for sure. But like you said, I mean, in order to have 3 first-round knockouts, you have to make the playoffs all 3 seasons. So
exactly,
you definitely never count this guy out.
Well, 50% of the teams make it, and 50% of the teams don't. So there's not a lot of playoff spots based on how many teams we have. So it's definitely hard playoffs to make for sure.
Yeah. History between these two teams, they've only played each other once, and that was the week 8, last week of the regular season last season. Canucks took that, but they both had clinched the playoffs.
Yeah, they both clinched at that point.
They both had some interesting teams, and I don't think either one was. They were trying not to give away strategies and everything for the playoffs.
If there's a leg up, though, if there's a leg up, I guess that's it. You know, however you take that, if you're on the other end of the field, if you're Great Marsh, you're going, it's 0-0 to me. I didn't really care. Or it could be like, I really wanted to win that, or maybe as a statement game or something.
Yeah.
It could have been it. So it depends. I think the mental game is there a little bit. But yeah, man, 2 very, very good teams. What are the keys to victory for Kyogre over Great Marsh?
Of course you went. I would say for Kyogre, I'm actually going to kind of join them together. I think Great Marsh has one of the strongest Trick Room modes right now, and I think if Kyogre can prevent that from happening, or at least stalling out his Trick Room, I think that's going to be huge. I think if Great Marsh can set up Trick Room, it's going to be hard to kill him. It's going to be hard to bring him down. He just has a lot of mods that just really love being in Trick Room. I think that's. And on that note, we actually skipped free agents there.
We did.
Great Marsh.
Significant ones, too.
Yeah, Great Marsh picked up Stack Attack and Scraggy. I was talking about Trick Room. Both good mods in Trick Room. Scraggy, my boy Scraggles there. Had him season 2. Obviously the best F tier, and I don't want to hear anything about Whoopers.
That thing took down things it shouldn't have taken down.
My season turned around when I started using Scraggy. So and Kyogre went out and picked up Magmar in the D tier as well. So so I think that's I think my key to this matchup is if Great Marsh can get Trick Room going and get his force Kyogre onto the back foot or onto his heels.
Yeah, I think that's it too. I think obviously it's really easy to say like I was thinking the same thing too. It's really easy to say like, hey, when it comes to speed tiers, whoever has the bigger speed tier, keep it in that tier and you'll probably win. Most of the time that's the case. Great Marsh does have a better Trick Room mode, and he has a very good way of setting up Trick Room. But here's the thing. Kyogre has such a good counter to it as well. Like, he's got things that are slower than his Trick Room mons and stuff like that. They're not exactly the sexiest picks ever, but there are ways of stopping Trick Room going up. He has ways of playing in Trick Room as well and reversing it, things like that. So I do believe Trick Room is going to be a big part, and maybe even the lack thereof might be, the key to victory for either of them, right? So,
yeah.
Or maybe the person that ignores it and just wins in either house, might have the victory as well because someone's trying to set up. The other one just goes off and obliterates things, right? So,
yeah.
But yeah, between those two, I think what it comes down to is who's on.
Yeah.
I've seen both of these guys not on as well.
Yeah.
But most of the time they are, so it's just week one, whoever has a better, feel for their team might actually come out with the victory, right? If you sit there and say, I'll prep a few days before the draft, meanwhile your opponent has been getting ready for a couple weeks, maybe that might be the edge as well. So, but again, two good teams. I won't be surprised if either of these players win.
I think it's gonna be a dogfight all match.
Good week one, by the way. The matchups we have are just excellent.
Yeah.
We're only halfway through the match. Actually, we're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, they're good matches so far. Like, I think the teams this season is going to be great. I'm actually just looking forward to everything about it. So
yeah, for sure.
Signward versus Seattle. When it comes to the rosters, weather definitely could be a main factor of this. I just think that Seattle, here's the thing about Seattle's team. He started off the draft with Venusaur Charizard or Charizard Venusaur in that order.
And
then
how do you feel about that? I'm not sure I've actually heard how you feel about that.
Oh, I feel fine. I feel fine. I don't even know what you're talking about. Yeah, we all let him get it, and we shouldn't have, and blah, blah, blah. We're all at fault. I really liked Seattle. I don't think anyone had a better draft first 5 picks than Seattle. When it came to his B picks down, I started seeing a lot of different things be added, but a lot of jack of all trades, master of none on the back half of his draft. So there's obviously hidden synergy involved there. He didn't make any moves, so he's probably happy with what he has.
Yep.
But obviously Venusaur Charizard is just so strong, right? How do you not bring it?
Right, exactly. And I think Seattle's always had that killer combination every season that you have to look out for. Last season it was Ndidi Xerneas, and we were all yelling about how we let him have that. The season before it was Sneasel Colossal.
Why are we so mad at him playing? He's like, I'm just trying to play the game, guys. Shut up. Everybody hates you because you pick the good things. No, nice draft, dude. For you to jump on that, a lot of the guys were just like, I'm not going to get it because I can't complete it. And you're like, it's good without it, but if I get it, that's great. And he took a stab and he got it. So, right. And he had a really good draft as well. I see Redirection. I see Intimidate. I see Weather. Rotom Wash is always a pain to battle. Like last season for Space City, it was such a good support Pokemon. Any Rotom is. Name a Rotom that's not.
The flying one has some redundancies.
Wow. Taking shots at each other's teams, all right? Let's have a look at Cascade. No, I'm kidding.
No, I agree.
Yeah,
all
the Rotoms are pretty
forms
good.
Yeah, I had the base form for a chunk of the season last season, and even that was that was a pain to deal with. So
even that one's really good. Rotom Wash, it definitely has a leg up over the others. Obviously, it's type dependent based on who you're facing. But Rotom Wash with only one weakness, it's the only Rotom that can say that. With only a weakness to grass, it's actually and an ability, it's got an immunity to ground, and not like it's super threatened by that, but having an immunity to ground attacks is just so nice. Resisting airstreams is so nice. Getting moves that lower stats of every kind is just such a pain to go up against. I can see that was such a good pick. I was kind of hoping you would grab that, Jay.
Well,
during your draft, I thought that would have fit very nicely. But you didn't.
No, here we are. No, I think that the Rotoms are always staples. They're always very good. All seasons there's a Rotom that but you always have to prep for it. You always have to be keep your eye on it before something bad happens. And heck, I mean, Rotom Wash, I've seen plenty of people Dynamax that thing and start going off that way. So I don't think it doesn't just do one thing. It does a lot of things very well.
Yes. Speed control, offensive, Dynamax threat, just a pain in the butt to be next to. Yeah, I can see that Rotom. It was a very, very good pick. I like it. I see the Tangela is really nice. Musharna is really nice. You had Musharna last season. Silvally is really cool, just having access to many different typings.
I don't know what that thing's going to do. Like, I mean, it could be any type. It could be any, it could do a lot of different things. So.
Yeah, like
it's like the definition of versatility.
Exactly, yeah. He's got a lot of fun on his team. I'm curious to see how he's going to use it. Signwood on the other end of it, he actually made a couple of free agent moves right before the deadline, which is actually really nice. He grabbed Mr. Rhyme, and he grabbed Roserade. Who did he drop? I forget. He dropped... Who was his D tier that he dropped? I forget.
Yeah, probably. But
do you know, Jay?
I probably should.
Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, he dropped Kabutops. Oh, man, I was actually really surprised he dropped Kabutops. I kind of liked that one. But Mr. Rhyme is my boy. 100% Mr. Rhyme is my boy. I love that thing. It just dances the entire match. Even when you knock it out, it's like, watch it. When it faints, it's still dancing as it goes back into the Pokeball. It's like, it's like, I can't stop it. You guys just watch me battle, and it's like, I can't stop. It's a serious condition. I was also really surprised he dropped Jinx as well. I think Roserade's a really good Pokemon, but dropping Jinx, Jinx being a Fake Out user and also Icy Wind user, but he grabbed Mr. Rhyme as well.
Yeah, I think Mr. Rhyme fulfills a lot of the roles that Jinx had. Obviously not all of them.
Very Jinxy.
That's why it's a tier down, but yeah, he wanted to go get Roserade. And figured Jinx was expendable if he could go get Mr. Rhyme with it. So,
yeah, I was trying so hard, man, to look at Mr. Rhyme. I was just like, I want it, but am I willing to get rid of my other Ds? And I was just like, I just can't do it. So like, there's a lot of things I was looking at that I'm like, I can't give up what I have. Stick with the plan. But looking at Cyanwood's team, is this the week we're going to see the Glalie strats? Is he just gonna break it out week one? This is what I've got. Y'all laughed at me, or is this gonna be just standard Mawile, Clefairy, Redirection, Dusclops, Gyarados? Are we gonna see some Purloin stuff? Like, what do you think, Jay?
I mean, I would love to see Glalie come out right away and start doing things. I think Mega Charizard Y certainly has to be on Glalie's mind there. Does not want to see that. No, I think Glalie has a rough week this week, even with Hitmontop, Rotom. I think there's a lot of things. But yeah, I think Purloin could really cause some shenanigans. I mean, it's really good at that. I think stopping, Venusaur, Charizard, you have to come up with ways to stop it.
Yeah, Weather Wars.
Prankster is you're like, oh, you want to double your Venusaur speed? Well, I still have Prankster and I outspeed you because so I think that's gonna be huge. And obviously, look at almost everything gets Rain Dance, so look for a Prankster Rain Dance somewhere in there. Pelipper obviously just gets Drizzle. So I think there's going to be a lot of emphasis on stopping Venusaur, Charizard. The question is to try not to focus too hard on that, but also be able to stop it. You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket, and then he's like, oh, well, you stopped this, but now the rest of my team runs through you. So,
no, I reveal my trap card. No, I think Pelipper is actually one of the few things that Charizard. Obviously, it hits everything really, really hard, but Pelipper being able to change the weather, so it gets rid of its what's it called? Its sun. For its fire attacks. Obviously it's going to resist it as well because it's a water type, but also usually water types that counter Charizard, you can use a Solar Beam. So the fact that he changes the weather and it's also a flying type, it's not super effective damage against the Pelipper. So I think Pelipper could be a big part of this match.
Well, and Pelipper matches can match up, at least type matchup wise, really well against Charizard and Venusaur.
Yeah,
You look at
100%.
Politoed is the more well known, but Politoed doesn't really like to see Venusaur in any mode. Um,
No.
but Pelipper is like, well, you still can't hit me hard, and hurricanes from a Pelipper is still going to do some damage to a
Yeah, maybe some weather ball shenanigans might be actually kind of cool. Just kind of, I'm not sure where exactly synergy would fall there, but I can see usually in Weather Wars, Weather Ball seems to be a nice little staple on either team.
Well, and the other thing that I'm curious to see is the weathers that are set by megas, and the fact that you can kind of choose when that happens. The fact that one is just a straight drizzle user and one is Charizard who doesn't automatically come in with the drought ability, and the timing on that is going to be really, really interesting to see how both players handle that situation.
Well, yeah, and max moves as well. Like I can see max geysers, I can see max flares, I can see just doing everything possible to keep it the weather that you want to see. And not to mention, Bulu doesn't want to see a whole lot of sun either. So that's a whole other thing. And you know what's funny?
I'm not seeing a lot of max flares though, but that is one thing that Seattle's team. He doesn't really have any other fire types, so his one Sunsetter is Charizard. So that is
there's a couple in the free agent, so maybe he picks one up later and just runs double. But yeah, I do think that if there is a strat to counter Venusaur and Charizard, I do believe that he does have the options with Clefairy as well for redirection. I do believe he has the rain. I do believe he has fake out pressure, prankster, things like that. And obviously Intimidate doesn't really help with that, but I think he's got two of them actually, Gyarados and Mawile.
Yes.
So I can see that. I do believe he has the tools for winning this game. I do believe team composition is very, very, very big this week. If you, for example, don't bring something that he's got a counter for, and not to mention Seattle's very creative, if not one of the more creative guys in the league when it comes to prep. Like we talk about Octo all the time. Oh man, we have no idea what he's going to bring. Well, let's look at Seattle. Like Seattle, this is his third season, and he's really turned a lot of heads, watching his matches. We're like, wow, that was either really ballsy or really cool. Like,
yeah, I can't say that.
Yeah, he ran Light Ball Excadrill in Season 2.
I'm still shuddering over the Dynamax Indeedee last season.
As he laughs as he's listening to this. Good on you, man. Like,
yeah.
It was a weird strat, you know what I mean? But at the same time, it worked, right? So hopefully we see some of that this week. Keys to victory, obviously, shutting down the Venusaur Charizard. Obviously, it's not Cole, but Venusaur Charizard. I believe shutting that down. Picking the safety goggles on the right Mon, I think, could actually win or lose the game. I think just in that decision alone, it goes with team composition we were just talking about. But I do believe if you have safety goggles on the right thing, it just shuts down that sleep powder. If he doesn't have the sleep powder, I don't think it's the end of the world. But yeah, I do believe shutting down that obvious just juggernaut of a strategy is probably the key for Cyanwood, and probably will be every week for his opponent.
Yep. No, that's fair. I think, I touched on it a little bit, but I think the key for both of them is timing. I think it's both of them, not just the weather, but even, setting up, whether it's Trick Room for Cyanwood or if it's Intimidates. Both of them have very good Intimidate users, and figuring out when the best time to get those in. I think this match is going to be a lot about timing and getting the right matchup on the field in the right situation.
Well, and you touched on Trick Room too, and we actually mentioned this last podcast as well, saying that the great thing about Venusaur Torkoal is the fact that it works in both modes. Unfortunately, we actually see Charizard Y Venusaur, which are both very fast in the sun, and one just on its own. Maybe that could be a detriment to that combo. Maybe we're gonna find out if it's great, if it's not great, if it's better, if it's worse. We may see that. Who knows? But I do believe timing. Yeah, when to set the rain, when to intimidate, when is very, very key as well. So good catch on that. We actually have another interesting matchup, man. We are the best at talking about this stuff because last week we gave our opinions on our two favorite rosters, and they're actually squaring off week 1. We did not plan this.
Yeah, it was totally unplanned. Yeah, so I think we're gonna see already who's the better commentator between me and you week 1. So
We both know who it is, and yeah, we both know who it is.
yeah, we'll let the details play out, but yeah, we're not rooting
one of
for
us won't
anybody,
admit it.
but obviously Sauce is gonna win.
Yeah, well, actually, that's one question I have. We'll try to kind of go a little bit quicker through the last couple matches, but do you like Sauce's team better or worse with the 2 free agent moves he made? Runerigas getting the ground type for the Kofagrigas, and adding Dragalge and losing the whatever the heck he dropped. Toxtricity.
Actually, yeah, that's right. I think Sauce's team gets better. And I don't actually know. I haven't used Kofagrigas or Runerigas much, so I don't know if I have. I'm not qualified enough to really speak on which one I like better there. But
So
I think
you hate his team now.
no. I think Dragalge. I love Dragalge. I think is an awesome Pokemon. I know we've argued about that one a few times. Just adaptability. Just it hits so hard. It's not quite slow enough to be great in Trick Room, but it's you don't want to see this thing in Trick Room.
It's the strongest Max Ooze in the game.
Strongest Max Ooze. It's a good typing. Dragon Poison, I think, is a good typing. It covers Dragon's really only weakness in Fairy. I mean, obviously other than Dragon, but yeah. I think,
other than Play Rough,
and it's a special attacker, so it big time likes getting those Max Ooze off, and it's a special wall. It hurts a little bit on the defense, but they're starts firing off Max Dragons and lowering your opponent's attack. That's covering
with a stab.
So yeah, I think Dragalge is a great pickup. I love Toxtricity as a Pokemon, but it just isn't very good competitively. I think you can do some fun things with it, but I do think Dragalge is an upgrade.
I do believe it's an upgrade as well. I actually liked both moves. I was kind of looking at the Runerigas for Kofagrigas. I'm like, I guess it's a free pick, but why? And he's like, I wanted the ground type. I'm like, oh, that's actually a good reason. I do have experience using Runerigas, and I actually had a lot of fun with it, so I'm actually looking forward to seeing what he's going to do. But just to kind of go through it, rather than getting into team composition, I'm glad Ant-Man didn't make a single move. I think his team was fine the way it was, and it sounds like he is confident in that as well. So very good on him. It's very hard to be offered 2 free picks and not grab them or use them, right? Look, 10 of 16 players jumped at it, right? Including myself. So, so good on him. As for the matchup, I don't know, man. I think Texas Landsharks is just, I knew his team was going to be really good. It's going to be really hard to stop the expanding force in the terrain. I don't see a lot of priority on Ant-Man's side. So a lot of the times, if you run like a Whimsicott or a Purloin or a Liepard, whatever it is, usually the psychic terrain is really hurtful. I don't think that's going to be a major problem.
I would say Grimmsnarl definitely falls into that, but Grimmsnarl also being a dark type,
and also
is immune to those expanding forces coming off. So could we see offensive Grimmsnarl week 1? It probably won't be able to get prankster moves off, at least across the field, and dark type really hurts a lot of what Texas Landsharks has. Well, I guess he has a lot of resistances to it though. Texas Landsharks just have such a good roster. I think it's clear who is a better eye here.
we both know who has the better team, and one of us won't admit it. So, and we both know who it is. No, but I just think Sviel had a great season last season. He did really well. He made the playoffs and stuff like that. That was a good stepping stone for him, so hopefully he can build on that. Texas Landsharks, he used to be the Hawaiian shirt Ho-Ohs, but no restrictions this season. He probably changed the name. Amazing logo. Hands down, everybody loves it. He wins, takes the cake for best logo. He didn't even make it, and we're just like, go Texas. Shout out Space City PC. But keys to the victory for this one, man. There's just so much going back and forth.
Yeah. I mean, looking at Spiel's team, Dragapult, Grimmsnarl, those are 2 of the best S tiers. And like we said before, the versatility of both of those. if you lead Dragapult Grimmsnarl, how confident are you gonna? If I ask you who's setting up a screen this turn, how confident are you answering that
Yeah,
question?
we
Uh,
did talk about that last week. Yeah, that is a big deal. So I think again, fact finding is going to be massive against.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and not
And
to mention the trade he made. The Cartana is just really. It's just keys to victory for him. Don't let Expanding Force get off because that thing is just an unstoppable train once it gets going.
well, I mean, even look at like Mega Gardevoir. Steel could even come out and just be like, "Hey, you want to set up Psychic Train for me? Thanks." like,
Yeah, exactly. He could just be like, "Thank you very much. I'll play in your house, but mine might actually work a little better."
yeah,
So yeah, that I think works really well there. So yeah, but moving on to Distortion Zone versus Dublin. Um, Again, we mentioned Shadow's team is just really, really good. I'm very, very happy with Shadow's team in his draft. Dublin has a very fun team as well. It looks like he has a lot of Dublin-y Pokemon,
yes.
which is really cool. The Klefki, the P2, the Hatterene. I think those are all right up his alley. What? So this is actually they played once before, and Distortion Zone actually beat him
Yeah, that
last
was
season.
actually it. Wasn't last season. It was the season before when Distortion Zone took over Yizzle's
Oh,
team.
with someone else's team. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, and I think that was yeah. I don't specifically remember that match too great, but I know Shadow was really excited. I think that was his first win with Yizzle's team there. Yeah, I think so I think both of these teams. Distortion Zone. I think he has a lot to prove. I think he's getting better. He's getting much better. You can tell just in his play. I think he was really disappointed in himself last season, and I think I want to see him grow into a staple of this league too. So
Oh, he's not going anywhere.
yeah,
I think he's gonna get better and better every season, every game, and I've seen definitely a growth in him for sure. As everybody most of the time, everybody just seems to be. It's kind of hard to get better when you're really, 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 really good to start. So,
yeah,
but there's obvious growth you can see in some players, and Shadow's definitely one. Another guy that I think might have something to prove as well is Dublin.
yep,
Dublin's been first. He actually made the second round, beating a pretty decent opponent in Octo, but then he exited as well. So maybe he builds on that. Maybe first round knockout, second season first round knockout, third season second round knockout. Maybe he makes it to the finals this season. Who knows?
yep.
And anything can happen. But yeah, I think he's just a great player. But yeah, I think that Mudsdale is just such a problem for anyone, let alone the team he's about to face. I think that Mudsdale would probably be my key to victory for him. If you
Yeah,
can
I
get
think
that thing going with policy or stamina or whatever it might be, it's just so hard to kill.
yeah, I think Dublin has the best slow mode in the game. Um, I don't think there's a better one. Just
Great Marsh.
great mark. I mean, that's definitely a run for his money. But just the Mudsdale Hatterene, like don't forget about
Oh,
how
I was just
strong
repeating what you
Hatterene
said
is.
earlier.
Yeah, I mean, Ensign can work both. I mean, Pete, yeah, Klefki is annoying no matter what room you're in. I think. I think that's a big portion. That's going to be the thing all season with Dublin is how are people going to be able to stop him from getting in his mode? Because if Dublin's comfortable, you're going to lose really fast.
Yeah, I've been beaten by him pretty good before, and yeah, he plays really well, man. There are some. He's kind of hard to read, so in a guy you can't really read, it's kind of hard to play against. So yeah, that's where I think he has the advantage. Neutralizing that Whimsicott, I think, is probably a key for him, and if Whimsicott even comes,
Yeah, that'd be
but
huge.
when I had it, it came every single week. So I think it's just really, really good.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I definitely think Whimsicott is one of the more dangerous Pokemon out there. One of the best support mons in the game. But yeah, let's move on to our last but not least matchup here. Yeah,
Yeah, this is taking forever, man.
yeah, no kidding. We're planning on this one being shorter, but I'm not so sure anymore.
Plan
Yeah,
schlans.
yeah. Anyway, so yeah, we got LA Lions versus Space City PC. So yeah, Lions this is his first year in the or first season, Jay, first season
Yeah, I
in
can't wait.
the in the league. So it'll be exciting to see what he can do. Space City's been a staple since the beginning. So and he kind of ran through the regular season last season. So see if I'm sure he's looking to have at least a repeat of that and maybe go a little farther in the playoffs.
Well, a little fun fact about Space too. We talked about how much longer he's been in the season than Linoons. I may be wrong on this. He was either first or second in the server.
Really?
Like literally from the very, very beginning.
Yeah.
We looked it up just for fun not too long ago, and I think Justin or him were
First
first.
ones.
Literally, so I was obviously the first because I made it, but I actually think he was first, and then it was just there weren't as many susses in the beginning.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And that itself is sus.
Oh my god, that's so sus. Yeah, it's his first season. I think I was, as we said, kind of off recording, whatever, off camera, whatever. We were saying how much somebody from another league could bring, and how things are actually played. Like we're so used to Bolton and Mamoswine and Umbreon and things like that, and staples season to season.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to see what flavor he brings to the league himself.
Yeah.
And I think Space City. I wouldn't want to face Space because he's a well-seasoned player now. You know, I thought he drafted an amazing team, but I wouldn't want to face a new guy. Like,
right, because you have nothing. You don't have any tape on him. You don't have any hey, this guy usually runs this kind of team, or this. You start recognizing trends in your opponents, and you have zero game film on Linoons right now. I mean, we're both baseball fans. How often do you see like a pitcher come up and he kills it for like 3 games, and then all of a sudden he sucks because everyone knows what he does? I mean, same thing.
A little scouting, yeah.
But yeah, and I mean, even look at looking at Linoon's draft and then his free agents. We'll go into that. I mean, he went out and switched up a lot at the top of his team as well. Going out, switching out his Mega to Mega Garchomp. Celesteela, which is one of the best S tiers available. That's a big pickup, and then Clefable too. I'm the other one that I'm surprised didn't get drafted, and very, very good redirection and stuff in the A tier. So,
well, funny thing about Celesteela is the fact that it went undrafted. We want to talk about things that we were surprised got undrafted. Celesteela was my first round pick until maybe 3 days before the draft.
Yeah, until Lucario became like hey, this could happen, and it still was.
It actually was. It was my number 1 pick.
Yeah.
Until Lucario was actually taken, it was literally on my list. I can prove it.
Yeah.
I shredded the evidence.
It shows what we know about the how the draft was going to go. But
yeah, could you imagine the draft is over? You have like this terrible draft. And you're like, I'm going to go get Glastrier. I'm going to go get Celesteela, right. Clefable. Like it works. Palossand, Excelgor. You could have a better team than most teams just dipping into the free agents. Right. Give me 12 moves, Jay.
No, for sure. I mean, Space also, not to forget him, he did go out and grab Rhydon, which I think is a very solid D tier pick. Obviously not as splashy as the stuff that Linoons was grabbing, but I've always liked Rhydon. I've always wanted to use it. The 4 times weaknesses kind of suck, but
without Solid Rock too.
Exactly, but don't underestimate it. Slapping if you don't have anything, if you don't have too many grass or water moves, if you have any Eviolite on Rhydon, it's going to be hard to kill. So.
Oh, yeah. Its defense is already incredibly high, and usually an Eviolite goes on unevolved Pokemon. Well, it has to go on unevolved Pokemon, but most unevolved Pokemon don't have defensive base stats that exceed 100.
Right. Well, not to mention,
I think its defense is 130.
Like 105 attack? I'm kind of pulling that out of nowhere.
It's got 130 attack, and I think it's 105 defense.
Jeez, okay. Still, yeah.
I actually want to confirm that because I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah. No,
we're so unprofessional.
I think Space went out and grabbed the Metagross early, and that's going to be really scary to go up against. And then you look at Linoons, the free agents he went and grabbed, Garchomp and Celesteela, 2, I wouldn't say hard Metagross counters, but 2 things that Metagross doesn't really want to see.
Yeah, there are very few things Metagross does not want to see, and I think he got 2 of them.
Yeah. The thing about this matchup is there's so much unknown here that it's hard to, Space City is a very good player, and Linoons could come in and
we know nothing about.
He could be the next, Kentucky Wild Bulls for all we know.
That guy, he's not any good. He wasn't allowed to play because he was.
Yeah.
You don't beat the commissioner of the league that badly, and we don't have a problem.
Yeah, look what happened.
Look what happened. I'm not saying it was a direct result, but he beat me, and he just isn't here anymore. Oh man. So yeah, when it comes to keys to victory, I think neutralizing the S tiers. I think if you can find a counter for that Finny Metagross, it's kind of hard to stop Metagross from doing what it wants to do without being able to burn it. There are some shenanigans that are involved in that. You can change the terrain, you can change its ability somehow. I don't know if he has those tools yet, but all I know is that no strategy is 100% successful.
Yeah,
And that's the cool thing about Draft League.
Linus does have Indeedee Mail, which can help with the terrain situation, but I don't know.
Special Metagross, bro. Set the train for me.
Yeah, right. That's something. I know you've been begging for that for a long time.
I want someone to do it at least once.
Yeah. No, but
No, I think. Yeah, go ahead.
So I was just gonna say, no, I think we covered all the matches. Should we go into our
Yay!
Our pick'ems game that we're gonna start up here?
Maybe if you talked less, we would have been done earlier, Jay.
You know, you just know me. I'm the chatterbox of this podcast. Clearly.
Yeah. We don't want to do a word count or anything, but comment down below in YouTube or whatever. Just let me know who talks more, Jay or Jay, and we both know which day you're talking about.
Yeah, we both know.
Oh yeah. Okay, so I guess that's pretty much it for the matches. What I think what's going to be kind of fun too is we're going to do a little segment. We're going to do a couple each week, so you guys have something to look forward to each week. I don't know if you guys if you're into football, like American football. Sorry, the one where you throw it, not kick it. There's some kicking, but yeah. There's something they do called a survival league, and you usually pick a match each week. You can't pick the same team twice to win, and as soon as you lose, you're out. But we have a long season to go, so we're just going to give ourselves points. So we're each going to pick one match that we think is not a guaranteed win, but because we can't choose the same team to win twice throughout the season, like for example, if I want to pick Octo to win, I can't pick him again for the rest of the season.
Right.
So I need to be careful when I pick somebody. You know, I'm not going to be like, oh, he's just got the best matchup. It could be a matchup. It could be based on who has experience, right? And things like that. So we're going to have some fun with that. So each week we're going to each pick one game, whether or not it's ours or theirs or whatever it is. And we're going to award ourselves a point if we're right. And at the end of the season, we're going to see who's better, and the loser doesn't get to play anymore.
Right. Wait, what?
Yeah. We didn't plan that. You signed. You signed.
Why you always read the fine print, guys.
And never click accept terms on everything.
Right. Make sure you read the 300-page, user agreement.
It all says the same. We make money off of knowing where you are, where you live, what you download, what you say. Like, it's all the same.
Right.
Anyway. Okay, so what we're going to do, I'm going to go first, just because I'm just going to. The match that I think I want to choose on, first of all of the matches are going to be really close.
Yeah.
I think that there are so many close matches in week one. It's going to be hard to kind of pick one, but I think there's no closer match than week one, game of the week, Cascade versus Sao Paulo Excadrills rematch. I'm going to give my reasoning, too. I'm going to pick Cascade to win that match. You're welcome.
Pressure. No pressure.
You're welcome. Pressure. So what do you want to do? Do you want to win the match and give me a point in our podcast, or do you want to throw? And you got decisions to make.
I'll be happy.
The justification for that pick, though, is I think Cascade, you have had his number. Obviously, we went over earlier today that you're 3-1 in his historical matches. Also, Vitor isn't exactly one to start the season super strong. The past couple seasons, he's lost week one. And so just strictly on numbers alone, I think you have the slight edge, and I'm going to go with you, Cascade Illusions, for week one for my pick'ems.
Aw, thanks. Aww.
It wasn't for you. It was so I can beat you.
I didn't hear what you just said. But for my pick of the week, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna pick Seattle Sigillus over Signwood Cyndaquil. I'm actually really excited to watch this match. Like we talked about, it's gonna be a huge weather war, rain versus sun. One of the main reasons I'm picking Seattle here is he has historically started off seasons very strong. I think he won the first game of the season the last 2 years. And I think he has a lot I know he'd admit that he has a lot more, I think, singles experience, but he's been in the league for a while, and he's always been a tough matchup and a tough out. And
No, he's not easy. That's
I
for
think
sure.
he has the edge in this particular matchup. So
Well, and not to mention, I think that, as I think you and I were talking before as well, Charizard kind of just runs over a lot of things he has. So we'll have to see how much of a factor if he. Sometimes when it's such a glaring, obvious advantage, sometimes you counter with something.
yeah,
And they can't do anything about it. So I think prep comes down to it. But I do think he does have the edge in that matchup. But yeah, so I guess we'll hold us to that for next week.
Right.
We'll be doing it every single week, and we're gonna keep score.
yeah,
And like I said, whoever loses at the end of we might even take it into the playoffs. Why not? If it's close, if we're tied or something like that, it is 8 weeks.
that's true.
So it could, could be tied. But we both get points if we're both right. So that's the other thing.
Yeah.
It's not like I get win, you get a win. It's like things like that. But yeah, so that looks like a little bit of fun. Hey, if you guys want to play along with us too, I think that'd be kind of fun as well. Throw down in the comments your pick'ems, keep score, see if you beat us, see who's better at predicting, things like that. I think it'd be a lot of fun if everybody in the league kind of jumped in. Might even make a channel. Who knows? I think we'll have to see how that goes. But so aside from pick'ems, I think just predicting at the beginning of the season, one of the best things about the new season is predicting what we think is going to happen at the end.
Right.
And then looking back and seeing
what
we thought at the beginning and how wrong we were.
And you did this a little bit last season. You asked people to predict like the playoff teams and everything. Who ended up winning that? Did you? Was it Great Marsh? I want to say it was Great Marsh.
Someone actually picked Kyogre to be the best team.
There you go. Well,
and that's pretty darn close. Someone guessed the kills leader.
Nice. I mean,
I remember that.
It probably wasn't the hardest one to pick last season. I mean, Karen White was a freaking monster.
Stila. No, I meant I think it was Celesteela for top S tier. Somebody picked. I think if you guys were right, we didn't really do a whole lot with that. It was more so for fun. But I think at the end of the season, after the finals match, we went over it and said, "Hey, who picked Vitor?" And I think Justin actually did. I'm pretty sure.
I think so. Yeah.
I think he picked Vitor, so that was a good pick. Oh wait, he wasn't right because you won. I completely forgot you won.
I was gonna let you dig that hole as long as you were gonna dig it.
Congratulations to Vitor on his season. Wait, what? Oh.
Oh, my notes are wrong here.
Yeah, I gotta fire that assistant for sure. Yeah, she says I don't pay her enough, but I know it's exactly what it's paid as much as I get paid. Okay, so let's start with the kills leader. Jay, who do you think is going to get the most kills this season?
I'm going to go with Mega Charizard Y.
Why is that?
Nice. No, I think, I think, typically you see Mons start sweeping when they're Dynamax, which Mega Charizard obviously won't be able to. But I can see Mega Charizard Y with its Heat Waves just picking off Mons throughout the year. I can see them getting weakened from either a Dynamax move or something else, and Charizard just finishes them off.
Dude, could you imagine if Venusaur max oozes and gives that Charizard a +1?
Right.
Before that Heat Wave goes off?
That Sun Boosted Heat Wave? Yeah. And that
Sun Boosted +1 Heat Wave.
That right there is why I'm going to I think it will have the most kills.
Why? Okay, can you remind me why this is a thing? Like, why are we talking about Mega Charizard Y and Venusaur when... Anyway. I'm not angry anymore, I swear.
I thought you were fine with it now.
I thought I was done with it, but I'll probably never be done with it. Well, until I face him and get burned. Anyway, my kills leader is... I'm going to go with Metagross because it's just so good. Not the Mega... but just the regular Metagross, being paired with that Finny, I think it's just the support. It doesn't need a lot of support.
Right.
He's got Tailwind on his team. He's got what's called a Misty Terrain to stop from burns. I think that's all the support it really needs, if not more than it needs to be successful. So I'm going to pick Space City to have the kills leader this season in Metagross.
Very nice.
Just don't run into that Mega Charizard Y in the same matchup.
Right.
I am going to start with the most deaths because I have a serious answer and a more serious answer. Gothitelle is the worst Pokemon. It's just, I hope it dies every time it touches the field.
Yeah, this is your dream most deaths, but
Yeah, this is what I want to happen, not what I think is going to happen. I think Gothitelle just needs to die a horrible fiery death.
Speaking of fiery deaths.
Speaking of fiery deaths, nice segue. I see your kills leader, and I raise you deaths leader. I think Mega Charizard Y is going to lead the league in deaths, just because I think it will get many kills. I just think it will also die at least every game it comes to.
Yes, I can.
Because I believe that a Rock Slide is going to KO it. But again, hey, if you take out 2 of them and you just die with your Mega Charizard Y, you'll take that exchange any day. Right? So like your Venusaur's still on the field, your Charizard's dead. Yet one of them's asleep or whatever it might be, maybe at the end of the turn or whatever it is. But Charizard's going to get 2 kills. It's also going to die every game as well. So and just remember, Glacier led the league in deaths as well.
That is true. That is.
And the season before, it was Hatterene as well.
Yeah.
So if you bring it a lot, it's going to die a lot too. So my guess is Charizard Y.
No, that's a good pick. I'm going to go with Whimsicott on the Distortion Zone.
Ooh.
I think Whimsicott is going to come pretty much every single week, and it is going to mess with its opponents all the way up until it dies. No,
good point.
I think that it will be one of the best support mons this year, but also it's not going to stick around every match. Not to mention that Shadow, the coach of the Distortion Zone, it was uncanny how many game 3s he went to last season.
Mm-hmm.
And so, assuming that trend continues as well, I can see a lot of game 3s and a lot more opportunities for Whimsicott to die. I can see a lot of games played there. So.
Yeah, games played will mean a lot of deaths as well. So high games played does not necessarily mean Pokemon won't die a lot. If anything, it just means it'll die more.
Right. Right? And I mean, obviously,
you win every game 1-0.
You look at our picks. We definitely don't think deaths is the highest death leader.
It's not thing. A huge.
It's a stat.
Yeah, it's a stat. Like it's not a valuable stat. It's like average in baseball, batting average in baseball. It's just like it's a thing, but it's not the end of the world.
Thing. Yeah.
Yeah. You mentioned support moves as well. Like Whimsicott is usually going to be up there. And also you know what? Whimsicott being the death leader could also make the support moves leader as well. I also think Indeedee female could also be leading both categories as well. And I'm going to pick that for my support moves leader.
Yep.
I think Indeedee with the follow me, the helping hand, the mystical fire, things like that. I think it obviously doesn't get as many support moves as Whimsicott, but I do believe that it is utilized 90% of the time as a just a follow me user, right?
Right.
And it could just use it more and more and more, and each time it just starts racking up those support move counts. So my pick is Indeedee female.
No, it's a good one. I'm going to go with Incineroar, the number 1 overall pick. Dublin Delmise for more support moves. I just think that this thing does all the support moves. It fake out, snarl, parting shot. You oftentimes want to switch it in and out. Will-O-Wisp. I think it's a little bit more bulky of a supporter as well, so I think that's going to come into play in racking up.
Yeah, Incineroar just hangs around.
Yep.
Like it usually does. It's got enough bulk that it can just hang out, and each time it gets a snarl off, a fake out off, a parting shot, just cycling intimidates and fake outs. It's just very annoying.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Duo? Should we do duo next?
We should do duo.
Or should we skip duo?
Sure, I'll start off with the best duo. I'm going to go with Tyranitar Excadrill.
Staple.
On the
Excadrills.
Hello, Excadrills, yes. No, I think that's that's just such a killer combo. I mean, every time it comes, you don't know who's going to have weakness policy. You don't know who's going to max. You don't know. I mean, it just is such a killer combination. I think, obviously Vitor is one of the best coaches in this league. And so I think a staple duo on the best team could easily win best duo.
Yeah, I think the typical duos I wanted to stay away from on my pick because historically the typical duos haven't really done well.
That's fair.
Because they're easily prepped for. So I went off the beaten path. I'm going to go Lando Incarnate, Tapu Koko on Kyogre Canucks' team. I can see Discharge going off next to it in the electric terrain, things like that. And I can just see Lando racking up kills with the sheer force ability, and it just hits so hard, and so does Coco, and Coco can support it and things like that. So I'm picking that one. I know it's kind of a weird one to pick, but that's the one I want to go for, because I think, first of all, I think Kyogre's going to have a lot of success this season. And I also think those two are going to be a massive part. We saw a little bit of Coco fireworks near the end of the season after the deadline and throughout the playoffs on your team, Cascade, and after helping you prep a little bit, I've seen what it can do.
Yeah, and
it's very hard
not to mention
to stop.
Kyogre had a Alolan Persian and did very well with it, and Coco, I mean, doesn't fulfill exactly the same role, but he knows his way around support mons and how to use them. So not a bad pick. Not a bad pick.
Another team we shouldn't let have good Pokemon.
Right.
So the duos are in the books. That was a weird one to do, but I just figured we don't have a whole lot of awards and stuff like that. But so let's go to the team awards though. Who is going to have the top record this season? That, looking at the teams, looking at the schedules, looking at everything, who do you think is going to have the best record at the end of the season? Even if it's tied, I don't care.
Yeah.
It's tied for first. No, you know what? Tiebreakers included. Let's go with that.
All right. I'm going to go off the beaten path here. I'm going to say the Spider Phantom Troop, coached by
Wait, what?
No, it's not a super surprising pick, but I don't see many people being able to figure this team out, and it's one of the best rosters, coached by one of the best coaches, I think. I'm scared. I have to face Octo, I think, week 6, and I'm already scared of that matchup. So I think he just runs through a lot of different people.
It's the Tiger Woods effect on Sundays if you're paired up with Tiger Woods.
Yep.
Usually guys, they get nervous and they start playing poorly and stuff like that, and you kind of just shake your head after. So Octo may have that effect on people as well. Who knows?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But my pick, I can't say enough about this team. Like, I know what my favorite team was Ant-Man before the season started. I think Kyogre Canucks, I think he has the interesting team. I think Lando Incarnate has been very underused. And Mega Salamence is just very capable. You want to talk about Charizard Y. I think this thing with Aerialate is just a really good ability, and it gets Intimidates, and you can cycle that out if you want to. And I just think its coverage is so good on the special and physical side, which Charizard can't do, at least not as good. So I think Kyogre Canucks is going to be my pick for the top record and champion, by the way.
And champion.
Just throwing that out there.
Wow.
And champion. Well, hey, if I think he's going to have the best record, I better choose him as the champion, right?
Which would be
because it would be absolutely silly if you didn't.
Well, I guess I'll be absolutely.
What's your
silly
champion
then.
pick?
I'm gonna go Dublin Delmise.
But that's not the same as your top record, though, Jay.
I think Dublin's team is just going to be so hard to beat and
annoying.
It's going to be so annoying, and I mean, like I mentioned in our preview earlier, I think if Dublin can get himself into a comfortable position, nobody can stop him, and I think I look at his team and. It definitely is favoring towards one side, but he has a very good roster of making sure he gets into that position, and I could see him making a run to the playoffs. He's always a staple to be in the playoffs, and I think I think he has what it takes to go all the way through.
Well, you just have to get there. That's the other thing, right? Like you hear in sports all the time, if you creep into the playoffs, like, yes, you didn't make it commandingly, but
you're there.
Hey, anything can happen, right? And Dublin's a really good player, and he also made as I mentioned earlier as well, he actually it's a stepping stone last season. He was first round knockouts, and then last season he actually made it to the next round. So that's actually a good prediction, because if he's trending upward, why not? Why not go with the hot hand, right? Why not? So yeah, I guess that's what we think. What do you guys think?
Yeah, let's get some
we actually care.
Predictions down in the comments.
Or in general chat or whatever. Comments are pretty cool.
Tell us why we're wrong. And you guys love to do that. So,
hey, tell us why we're wrong. Tell us how wrong we are and how mad you are, and then ask me how much I care.
Exactly.
There is one other segment. I know we don't have a lot of time. I know you guys are sticking around. If you guys just want to skip it, that's fine too. Just a fun little thing I want to do each week. I know we have a WPL Academy channel, not channel, but playlist in the channel, and it's more so just to kind of teach people how to play and just little things of how VGC works and things like that. This isn't more so a tutorial I want to do with this one. We'll call it WPL Academy because why not? What moves are used in singles that are not used in doubles?
And vice versa.
And vice versa. So it's not so much a how do you play singles, how do you play doubles? It's more just like what is a big difference between both formats? So Jay, I'll kind of let you start. Like what do you see in doubles that you don't see in singles?
Well, I mean, I think the obvious, I mean, the very obvious one is more spread moves in general. When you're hitting more than one Pokemon, or when there's more than one Pokemon to hit, you might as well hit both of them. And I think there's a lot more. There's so much more mid-turn support, especially with some of the change of the mechanics of the game this with season or with Generation 8. Like especially talking like this especially around the speed, the speed order. So things like Electro Web, where you have a very fast Electro Web user. You slow down your opponent's mid-turn, and then now you're faster. Where in the past, since the speed calcs were done at the very beginning, that wouldn't have been quite as useful. So that's something else to keep in mind with these.
Yeah, speed control seems to be much more important than doubles than singles. Yes, like you have a snowball effect in singles with Moxie and things like that. And I don't, Jade. Actually, we didn't talk about this. Is Dynamax banned in singles?
I don't think so, but I don't play singles, so
I don't know either. I don't see a lot of Dynamax
in random singles. It's not banned, but that doesn't really say anything. So I think Dynamax is still a thing.
Yeah, I hope it's never a thing after. I hope they eventually just take it out because doubling your HP, like, come on,
and giving everybody 150 power move.
So.
Nice.
That's doubles. Like, obviously, certain items and stuff like that, too. We're talking about moves, but weakness policy is actually... I don't think I've ever even heard of weakness policy in singles. Have you?
Again, not a lot of singles play, but I don't think so. I mean, it's so much more risky. You're banking on your opponent doing something to activate it. And usually when it comes to activating your policy as well, you're using like a move like Shadow Sneak or Absorb or, a lot weaker moves, Draining Kiss, where now you're getting policy activations off of moves like Earthquake, and that's a much riskier way to go about it.
Like a hard switch, a T-Tar hard switch on a close combat to activate your policy.
Yeah, right.
Probably not the best idea.
Probably not.
Yeah. Tailwind Trick Room, I think, is also another one that is. It's not even so much that it's underused in singles. I just think it's so overused in doubles. I think it's so relied upon, and people like there are so many ways to get the advantage. And I think Tailwind Trick Room, you don't see as much Trick Room in singles, but Tailwind you definitely don't see as much. Like I said, I think like Corviknight and Skarmory use it a lot, and you hardly ever see them in doubles anymore.
Well, I think part of it too
exactly
is the turn number. I think Tailwind lasts 5 turns. Like that could be the entire match in VGC.
Yeah.
In singles, like that's like 10% of the entire.
It's
like
it's a speck in hindsight of the game.
Yes,
like
it's such a small.
Trick Room, Tailwind, 3 turns. Well, actually, Trick Room's 5 turns, but Tailwind's 3. So yeah, like, and that actually is a good segue to the singles moves, like Hazards. Like Hazards is something that lasts the whole game, unless it's obviously rapid spun off.
Yeah, or poison Pokemon come in and take out toxic spikes, things like that. But generally speaking, yeah.
Yeah, like Hazards, like you never see Hazards in doubles because the game is over sometimes in 3 to 9 turns. Sometimes long ones go 12. 10 plus.
Yeah, I mean, unless me and Kyogre are playing, then it'll go really long.
Oh God!
But
did you guys hit 20?
That's a good question. I think we got.
I think you did.
Maybe we did. I don't mean Vitor did that game that he froze Umbreon for 6 turns.
Oh, there was at least 6 or 7 when it was Dialga Umbreon.
Yeah. So that's
Just
anything
with
them.
those two.
But it was kind of singles at that point too. So,
Oh God.
I mean hazards. Going back to hazards, I think there's just so much more switching, and you think U-turns and stuff like that. Volt switches are super prevalent. It's all singles is all about getting that position and to be able to set up at the right time in front of the right Pokemon. And so you end up, not only are the games lasting a lot longer, but you see a lot more switching in and out. And so hazards, things like stealth rocks or, they take a toll very, very quickly.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, like sticky web is a big one too. You want to talk about speed control? Throw something down that they get a -1 every turn, every time they switch in.
Yeah, that's like we said with Tailwind. Tailwind lasts 3 turns. Sticky web could last the entire game. And it's not
rapid
exactly
spin
the same.
and defog.
No, but speaking of switching, I think baton pass. That's another one that you see a heck of a lot more in singles. You start bulking up with one Pokemon to switch to another one. I'm not 100% sure why it's never used in doubles. I think it's just because of the doubling in effect. Are you really going to baton pass to give all these boosts to a Pokemon that's going to come in and pretty much die right away? And I think the number of turns is a factor there as well. You don't have time to bulk up. I think you see a lot.
Yeah.
I think you see a lot less bulking up in general. Like.
I'm actually surprised in doubles we don't see a lot of slow baton pass users, like incredibly slow, so they're going to go last.
Right.
Activating a policy on it and passing that. Because sometimes, like, a lot of people like activating policy with priority moves and weak moves, things like that. If you don't have that on your roster, activate something that's bulky that you can, and then have it baton pass after it's been hit. It survives. Some Pokemon, like Eviolite users, like really, really tough, like even like Shadow sneaking, not an Eviolite because it'll have policy, but that's a bad example. But something super, super bulky like a Toxapex. Like if you want to, I don't think it has baton pass, but what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I'm thinking. When you said that, I'm thinking, wow, I should have done something like that with Umbreon last season. Like
bullet punch, not bullet punch, but mock punch.
Yeah, or like
mock punch it, like a baton pass out last.
Yeah, U-turn out, and then then you can even bring that Pokemon back in again. I think.
Oh my God! You just.
I think I just.
You turn the Umbreon. That's actually awesome.
Yeah, switch out and then bring that Pokemon back in, but with the boosts.
Oh my God! Did we just break Pokemon?
You're welcome, Space, for that.
Holy crap! By the way, Coco gets U-turn. Just throwing that.
Oh, there you go. Look at
that. Or does it? I think it does. I could be wrong.
I could be wrong. It could be Volt Switch.
Something gets U-turn. Use a free agent move. Anyway. So rather than... Yeah, so that was fun. Let me know if you guys think that's really cool, the WPL Academy segment. We do want to touch on, just little things that you guys might not know about, interesting topics about competitive play. Today we just compared it. We're not going to talk about singles much, right, Jay?
No, please. No.
That's the most I've ever talked about singles, I think. So,
same.
But shout out to Seattle Sigilifts, who's a singles expert. So
ask him if you want singles questions.
Yeah, if you have any questions, he's cool with it. We've already talked. We haven't talked. But yeah, just send him a private message at like 5 a.m.
Right. Make sure
that's when he likes to be messaged.
Make sure you tag him like 7 times in general.
Oh God, he hates it when I tag him. he hates it so much. Sorry, bro. But I think this is actually a good place to end it off here. Again, everybody, thank you very, very much for watching. Jay and I really enjoy doing this, and the response we got from the first podcast that came out, everyone's saying that they kind of enjoyed it, and I guess that means they want more. So I guess we still have a job, Jay.
We're still going.
We're still going strong. Let's see if we can make it to week 3.
We ain't dead yet.
we ain't dead yet. Oh man. All right. So yeah, Jay, cue the outro music.
Yay!
It's the World Pokemon League, #1 draft league you could ever see. Getting stronger, yeah, I'm building up my own team. Gotta be the champion, the